seat taken?
Nobody's in the seat, then I ain't taking, friend.
So this is, Sabacc?
Sabacc.
Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to Sabacc the Block, the official first cut Star Wars show. We are back now that the strike is over. I'm excited to talk about all things Star Wars. I'm here with another very special guest for the second time, I believe, on the show.
Yes.
We have Kari, Estar Guars Tia, in the house. How are you doing, Kari?
I'm doing absolutely amazing. I'm so happy to be back again and happy that we can actually talk again, Star Wars.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a while since we had the opportunity to talk about it. And I'm excited that now that the strike is over, I feel free to talk about it. And it's just an amazing time to finally celebrate projects that people were in, celebrate new actors, celebrate new writers, new performers that have come into the Star Wars universe and that have delivered a lot of quality inside these shows and inside these new projects. So I'm excited to break it all down. So let's just get right into it. I want to talk about the very first topic I have is the Star Wars news.
I heard a story about you. I was wondering if it's true.
Which is the strike is over. People are talking about Star Wars again, specifically the cast. And when I mean cast, I say the cast of Ahsoka are talking all things Star Wars. How does it feel now that everyone is celebrating, specifically Ahsoka, but pretty much every project throughout Star Wars and throughout the year?
It's been it's been great, even though, it's to be expected in Star Wars community and Star Wars fandom that there's always going to be that infighting of if they liked it or not. But it's just beautiful to be able to get all these projects and, before, when we had so many years of being devoid of having anything, especially on TV shows, because we had like books and we had the Clone Wars and stuff, but now we are being fed so many things, so many new projects, and being able to bring these characters that we love so much from animation to live action with such an amazing cast, such amazing, stars, bringing these characters to life the way they did. It's just been really, really awesome.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the fun is watching the behind the scenes videos that people have taken,
Yes.
watching the tweets of just them celebrating being in a Star Wars show. I know Amon is like the biggest one.
Oh
He's
my
like
God.
so happy to just be here. He's like the most happy to be here kind of guy,
Yeah.
which is kind of awesome to see. Because again, that's probably how I would be if I were in a Star Wars show and I happen to be playing one of the most
We're
iconic
sharing
characters.
everything. Absolutely. I'll be sharing everything. And I love that now that, they weren't able to do any of this stuff. Unfortunately, they weren't able to go on tour to go promote their show and everything. So of course, everything is just they're giving everything to us all at once. And that's awesome because we've been like starving for that as well.
How do you feel now that the strike is over in retrospect, looking back, especially I know you're big on TikTok, that's your big platform,
Mhm.
but on TikTok and seeing other Star Wars content creators and this debate that kind of started at the very beginning of the strike, where some people were saying, I, I'll stand in solidarity, but I'll keep making content. Some people were saying, I
Mhm.
don't care. Some people were
Mhm.
saying, I'm going to stay silent and stand in
Mhm.
solidarity and show as if I
Mhm.
were a SEG member to stop making these videos talking about these struck companies and these struck projects. How do you
Mhm.
feel in retrospect, looking back at this, whether it comes to the debate or whether it comes to the solution that we all had at the very end? Do you feel
Mhm.
like this was worth investing in and actually standing in solidarity and staying silent?
Oh, absolutely. I was 110% in solidarity with them. Obviously, I'm not a SAG member. I'm not planning to join them, but it's not just about that. It's about, the principles and doing what's right and giving these people the support. They give us so much, when it comes to entertainment, bringing the stuff that we love to life. And the least we can do is be there for them and give something back to them, show them that we appreciate what they do and that these studios also need to appreciate what they give, you know
Yeah.
to be treated the right way and be given fair, what they're asking for, which is completely fair.
Yeah. I feel like there was a debate as far as how to do it if you are going to do it.
Mhm,
There is a fine line between people's, livelihoods, but also kind of the fine line between opinions and how opinions
mhm,
are dictated and divided in the online
mhm,
fandom. I personally have been following this, all the way back 2014, 2015, since The Force Awakens, being really involved within the online fandom, specifically YouTube. So I saw
mhm,
that dark shadow that we see now
mhm,
in the Star Wars fandom rise up. And I feel like the
mhm.
biggest reason it rose up is because there wasn't pushback and there wasn't other powerful outlets or big names that were pushing back against that ideology and that mentality. I do feel like that was missing a little bit. And I kind of
Mhm.
wish I did have that when it came
Yeah.
to the strike during Ahsoka. I know a lot of awful opinions were out there, and there wasn't a lot of people to push back on it because they were
Yeah.
mainly
Yeah.
standing in solidarity. How'd you feel about
That
that
was,
kind of
oh my god.
push and
When I
pull?
tell you that when I used to see these takes and these horrible comments online, and a lot of the people that that in the community that I'm with, also that were being silent and sat in solidarity, we would just go in private and just like, oh my god, what are they talking about? What is this? Like, they they were fully taking advantage of the fact that they could say whatever they want and they were not going to get pushback from a lot of the members of the community because of the solid we were standing in solidarity. And it was very frustrating. Absolutely, there was so much misinformation running around, so much bad faith commentary and stuff, and all we kept saying was, "Ooh, you just wait till the strikes are over. You just wait till the strikes are over," because we were going to come back and push in full force for sure. Yeah,
Do
but
you
it
feel
was
like
frustrating. But
do you feel like there's a little bit of, I don't want to say the word resentment because I feel like that might be
Mhm,
too strong, but a little
mhm.
bit of like saltiness, I guess, from people who were standing in solidarity against those who didn't or those who chose to not to?
um, I mean, it was definitely disappointing
Okay.
a little bit for me because like I said, it's the least we can do. It's such a small gesture, for many of us that do content, that just to do content for the sake of doing content. It's not like a livelihood thing. I did understand a little bit more of people that actually have to work for things like this and stuff like that, but if it was not necessary to do the content, I didn't think they should have. Um, but because I think the pressure is always going to be there when people are not talking about a certain project and stuff like that. That's a big, huge, thing for the studios because we bring the promotion and the advertisement for them many of the times for free. You know,
Yeah.
us just talking about it is promoting it for them. And I think that us being quiet and silent during this time with the workers and stuff, that it didn't might have not had such a huge impact in the overall, but I'm pretty sure they felt it and they know that we were just doing the best we could to have these people like come to realize that, you know what, we need to do something. Let's end the strike. Let's get the workers what they want.
Do you feel like part of that is heavier on the bigger content creators versus the smaller ones, or people who are just small, tiny TikTokers who are just making fan videos about Ahsoka?
I think with the bigger content creators, it definitely falls a lot on them because obviously they have the bigger audience and
Yeah.
stuff, and a lot of people follow them and follow their lead, you know? Um, Maybe even the smaller content creators. I'm not a big content creator either, yeah, I have my following and stuff, but even I think in smaller steps and any little bit helps, no matter how big or small you are.
Yeah.
Regardless, people follow you and they listen to you, even if it's five people that follow you. Those people go to you, you know?
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk about this the entire strike, and I know I'm doing it now because I can talk about it, I guess.
Yes, yes.
But also because I never felt like a good partner to kind of go back and forth with when it comes to talking about these
Mhm,
concepts that we all dove into when it came to solidarity. I talked a little bit about it with Danny
mhm,
Fernandez, who is a SAG member and a WGA member. And obviously, when
mhm,
it comes to the SAG regulations, they had to follow those rules. And when it comes to like other smaller outlets, I've spoken to a ton, and I mean a ton
mhm,
of people who really were saying like, this is something that I just do and I'm going to keep
mhm,
doing it. And I know who I
mhm,
am. And I know that I'm showing solidarity in other aspects, whether it's
mhm,
donations, whether it's other tweets, whether it's other videos on the SAG strike.
mhm.
And there are ways to do it while doing your content. There was just a lot of different aspects and different avenues into
Yeah,
looking at this one thing that a lot
yeah,
of creators were kind of, I don't want to say fighting, but like bickering about online. And I did
mhm.
feel like they were getting lost in the sauce as far as
Yeah,
what the
yeah, yeah,
actual
yeah.
issue is, who the real
Yes,
enemy is, if I'm quoting Haymitch.
yeah.
But I feel like that's at the core. And I did feel like, yes, a lot of that responsibility was on bigger creators. And I think that's how the whole thing started. I think
Mhm.
it was like a massive creator who was kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to follow any rules.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
think his pushback to that was what kind of started this whole like, hey, the bigger platform, the bigger responsibility you have. Again, Spider-Man,
Yeah,
more power, more
absolutely.
responsibility. And I
Yes.
feel like that's true. And I did
Mhm,
feel like it was kind of unfair towards people who had like maybe 1,000 followers on
mhm,
TikTok and were just like, hey guys, I liked Hera. And people were
mhm.
like, shut up. And I was like, I don't know if they're really making, I don't know if that helps. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
don't know
yeah,
if that
yeah.
helps. No.
Absolutely. No, like I said, there was no, like you said, no rules to follow.
Yeah.
Everybody, I wasn't one to tell anybody what to do.
No.
I was doing my thing. That was how I felt I could do my part. Anybody else, however they wanted to do it, that was on them, of course, up to them. But when it comes to the bigger content creators, I
Yeah.
definitely do feel that there's a lot more responsibility on their
Yeah.
shoulders for
I,
that.
I agree with that as well. And I think if I can add to a disappointing part, because I was
Mhm,
also slightly disappointed, obviously not, going
mhm,
crazy or anything, but I
mhm,
think it was the people who said and were like really loud about it. I saw a lot of people who were super loud about, I'm staying silent and standing in solidarity. And then 2, 3 months passed by and they stopped
and
doing that.
they want,
That
yep.
to me, I was like, bro, you got to stand on your word, man. You got to stay with it.
Absolutely.
You
Yes.
can't just be like, ah, man, I, people slipping up and talking about it in a
Mhm.
pretty open and in your face kind of way, not necessarily in the
Yeah.
quiet. Because I also got understood the quiet people who were doing like just one tweet here and there, and I was like, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
You're still
Yeah.
standing in solidarity. I felt,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
more like the people who are like making 25-minute videos on YouTube and doing like 10 TikToks and stuff. And I was like, wait a minute, weren't you like the loudest one
Oh, yeah,
saying you
I
weren't
saw
going to
that
say
too.
anything? Um,
I saw that, I was like,
yeah,
"Wow, that was quick." Like, what
yeah,
happened? We're supposed to stay in
yeah.
this if you're really staying into, if you're all in, you're all in, you know?
Yeah, and I felt like that it became it's still a personal thing for most people, and
Mhm,
I know a lot of people from the Star Wars community specifically who are good faith and who are good people, and I've known them that chose to keep going and chose to keep doing it, and they did it in a really good way. They kept showing, this was filmed during SAG strike and go
mhm,
support them and stuff
mhm,
like that.
mhm,
So I did feel like there was manners and ways to do it, but at the same time, I chose a different way to go about it where I really just did say, I'm personally going to do this. I just
mhm.
want to do it because I feel like it's
Yeah.
just something I want to do. And,
Yeah, yeah.
it doesn't matter if my partner or my podcast partner doesn't want to do it, that he's free to not, and everyone else is
Mhm.
free to not. And I don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to speak up about it. I just have to show with my actions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so there was ways to do it. And I'm just glad we got past that. Obviously there still needs to be, I believe they're still voting on the SAG
Oh, yeah,
officially.
they're still
Yeah.
voting, and, apparently not everybody's happy, especially
Yeah.
most importantly with the AI aspect of it.
The
That's,
AI
like, the
stuff
really
is,
big thing, yeah.
yeah. So hopefully we'll get a resolution completely and it's a good resolution that we all want to see.
Mhm.
But either way, I'm excited that Star Wars is back, that we can officially
Yes.
talk about it, and that we aren't breaking any SAG rules or anything.
No, no,
Let's
no,
go.
we're
Yeah.
here.
Let's move on to the green Psylop.
If you'd only had this little green Psylop.
And the
Mhm.
green Psylop for today is all about Star Wars, the year in Star Wars that we had. I wanted to take a quick look back at this year in Star Wars and how you felt about it now that we're coming to the end of the year.
Mhm. Well, it's just been. I love that we got these shows and that each show had such a different, type of a tone to it, type of mood. We had such a big contrast with Andor, being so serious, so political, so gritty and dark, well, darker than any other show that we've had like that. And then we get to, then we get the other end of the spectrum with Ahsoka, which brings us the Force lore, all this the mystical part of Star Wars, and I love that we get that we've been able to have that balance as well. Hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting year. I really do feel like it's really positive. I think a lot of people forgot Visions. Visions is like,
Yes,
it was incredible. It was absolutely phenomenal. It's just a piece of art.
beautiful.
Just
Yes.
absolutely every single short was just different,
Hmm.
special, powerful, unique, just artistry all around. And I'm a big, obviously, animation guy.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and that's something that I follow, whether it's anime or American animation or other
Hmm.
worldwide studios that are getting involved now even more.
Hmm.
But I do feel like Visions is like nothing could top Visions for me right now. That was just top tier.
No, Vision was because I love that not only were they, we got outside of Japan and we were able to bring all these other animations from other countries, but they all brought in their own type of story that still had some type of meaning and some type of deeper meaning uh to it. And it was very important because that is what Star Wars, one of the core things of Star Wars is, what are you trying to show the world? What are you trying to teach us? And each of these stories did that in a beautiful and unique way, in beautiful, unique animations. It was interesting. It was, it was spectacular. Just the visuals were amazing. So it's like everything was just tied in together really great.
Yeah, I loved it, and I really did feel like it added a lot to the Star Wars universe. I know that's always
Hmm.
something that people are obsessed with when it comes to Star Wars is
Hmm.
canon, and what are you trying to say in the grand scheme of Star Wars? But to
Yes.
me, that becomes irrelevant if you're not doing something special, and I feel like that's what Visions was, regardless of
Hmm.
canon, regardless of, oh, what does this mean for the future of Star Wars? It doesn't matter. It's just
Nothing.
really
Yeah.
good art.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
So I loved
And
it.
great story. So.
Yeah, and amazing stories. I loved it, and I hope it wins awards. I know we're getting into award seasons, but I really hope people
I
don't
mean, if it
forget Visions.
doesn't, it would be insane if it doesn't, because just on visuals alone,
Yeah,
it's out of this world.
it has to. I'd be so disappointed if there wasn't at least one nomination for one of these shorts because I feel
Yeah.
like they give it their all and they did really well.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to Full Sabacc.
Full Sabacc.
Full Sabacc this week is all about Ahsoka. I wanted to talk about Ahsoka with you, Kari, because I know that's the big show that came out this year, and I know you've been a
Yes.
fan of these characters for quite a long time. I know it was hard to not talk about it, but now that we can talk about it, how are you feeling about this season or this first season of Ahsoka?
I really enjoyed the season a lot. I mean, I'm the type of person that I am when I watch the show is I'm a very emotional. I'm not the type to over the analytical person. When I first watch the show, I'm just the emotional type. Like if it strings at my heart and it gets to me, I'm gonna love the show. I and from that point of view, Ahsoka delivered on a lot. The nostalgia hit on every single point with everything that we got, and I one of my favorite things is for lore of the Force, any type of Force lore. I'm a sucker for that. And Ahsoka definitely delivered on that, not only on Force, but also, the Night Sisters and their lore, which was I was like so excited that we got to see more and we got to learn so much about the Night Sisters. And just again that mystic side of Star Wars was in there. And that was amazing.
I think the lead up to it with following such an iconic series in Rebels, which might be, I consider it to be the best Star Wars TV project so far.
Yes.
I think Andor season one might be the best season one we've
Hmm.
gotten. But when it comes to a full complete project, I feel like Rebels might be the best when it comes to
I
the
agree.
series.
It's my
So
favorite. Mhm.
following that up is hard.
Oh,
It's
no,
really
it
hard.
definitely is, yes.
So kind of going into it, I love where they went. I just love seeing the fact that we're going to a different galaxy. I was like, yo, this is perfect. It's so different.
So
Uh,
different.
it's not like a unknown regions which we've gotten before, but an actual different galaxy, which I think is
Yeah.
really cool. And the fact that we got to explore that a little bit, we got to
Mhm.
see these beloved characters that we know and love from the animated show get their time to shine and get their moment, whether it comes to Ahsoka or it comes to Hera or Sabine.
Mhm.
I felt it. I really did, and it took a little bit for me to get into it. It took probably 2 episodes for me to really establish how I really felt.
Mhm.
Because I think they started with those first two,
Yeah.
and those first two, I was like, all right, this is cool.
Mhm.
But once we got past those and we started to get a little bit deeper into the plot, I really did feel like they nailed
Yeah.
it when it came to a lot of things and when it came to those themes of Star Wars,
Yeah.
of overcoming this kind of unknown enemy and
Mhm.
doing it with your crew, doing it with your friends, and pushing past trauma, pushing past your limits, pushing past what
Mhm.
you think is capable, just simply based off Sabine's story arc,
Yes, yes.
but even Ahsoka's story arc and her coming from, I believe, I don't think I coined this. I think it was someone else who said Ahsoka the Gray to Ahsoka the White.
No, white, yeah.
Um,
Yes.
but I feel like it was just really well done, and I really enjoyed
Mhm.
what they delivered. And
Yeah.
obviously, I loved all the callbacks. How'd you feel about all the references and callbacks?
Well, I wanted to say that I agree with you. The first 2 episodes, it was kind of like I don't know how I'm really feeling about this. Especially, I wasn't feeling too confident with the some of the dialogue, the way they were interacting with each other. At first, especially between Ahsoka and Sabine, I was like, talk, like what's going on? Why are they not like really clicking? But then we get into like like you said, the next episode was like, all right, well, I guess there was some some type of animosity or something because of what happened to them between them in the past and stuff. And I guess they were trying to convey that like their relationship was rocky and stuff. So I kind of that's how I took those first 2 episodes. Like that's why they were acting the way they were. And then just every callback, hearing them bring up, Leia, just her name, bringing her up, bringing Kanan's name up, a name up. I was like, oh my god, we actually got a Kanan name drop. And then, of course, like my number one absolute favorite thing was getting Anakin Hayden back as Anakin. That was just like that was like the most emotional best thing for me, especially that we got to see him acting like in flashback in Clone Wars and his Clone Wars armor, and him bringing that animated version that Matt Lauder did so well, and bringing that type of spirit into live action. I think Hayden did such an amazing job doing that, bringing that into it. And then baby Adriana Greenblatt, right? Her bringing that spirit of young Ahsoka from the Clone Wars. It was just, I think they did an amazing job in that way.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the conversation around bringing these animated characters into live action. There's always a debate when it comes, especially to the animation community, who holds this
Mhm.
art,
Oh
to
yeah,
holds this medium to a really high standard, and who always considers it to be at the same level as anything we can get
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
live action. So the idea of bringing these characters into live action feels like, is it necessary? Is it needed? But I always felt like that validation, especially of the Clone Wars, because I felt like Rebels, we're getting this validation with the series, but that one episode with Clone Wars, I was like, yo, we did it. We made it. After years of watching this show and telling people it's
Yes.
amazing, all the way
Yeah.
back in like '09, I think I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
watching the show and telling people how good it was. I think it came out in '09, right? Or was it sometime around there? Um,
I think because the first in 2003 was that other the other animated Clone Wars, which
it
was
was, yeah. And
the
then the movie came
was-
out '07 or '08,
I
I
think so.
believe.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it was somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But either
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
watching this show for so many years and finally getting that
Yeah.
kind of confirmation, whether it comes to the armor, the personality, the moments
Hmm.
in the episode, was really cool. I loved
Yeah.
it. Do you have any favorite moments in the show besides the Anakin moment?
Favorite moment. I think it was when one of my favorite moments I think was when Ahsoka kind of realized that actually, yeah, right after her conversation with Anakin, like the whole thing with in the world between worlds and stuff, that she came to realize and go to this Ahsoka the White type of moment, right? That she was the fear was holding her back, and that didn't give her the opportunity to be who she was supposed to be for Sabine, and that affected Sabine as well. And I just love that you could see that difference right after, you know, the whole Anakin thing happened. I think I absolutely love that. I love any characters that have to deal with inner struggles, that they're going through something inside, and then you see them kind of overcome that little by little, and then you get to see them come up top. I That's one of my favorite, like, you know, trope type of things. So, and I love that I got to see that with Ahsoka.
Now we have to talk about the cast of the show. The cast has been heavy because I do feel like, again, filling the shoes of these iconic characters is no easy feat. And the fact that
Mhm.
we got such an amazing cast to do that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, I'm going to go through each and every one of them: Hera, Sabine, and Ezra, whoever you want to start with.
Okay. So I want to start with, like, I guess my least favorite, which was
Okay.
maybe Hera.
Okay.
Okay. So I think Elizabeth did a great job, but I think I would have liked her to be a little bit more I don't know. Hera was in animation was very animated. It was very, you know, stronghold, and you could feel that energy about her and stuff. And I mean, and I know that now during this time after so long, you could kind of say that these characters have grown, and everything that they've been through kind of changed them a little bit, which I can understand, of course, in that context. But I think with Hera, I just wanted to have a little bit more of that, you know, fiery type of Hera that we had in the animation. But overall, I think she did well. You know, there were certain moments when she was like talking back to the Senate. She was being so sassy. I was like, there she goes. There's Hera right there. You know. I Then, but then everybody else, I think, like, were spot on, and Sabine did amazing. Like, just that sarcastic, that kind of smart mouth type of attitude that we knew her from the animation. She definitely captured that as well. Rosario been doing a great job since The Mandalorian. I think you know, some people I know that are not going to be happy or not happy with that casting, but I think she did an amazing job. And, you know, and more so that I know that she really, like, studied. She really put everything into this character, trying to get this character correct, you know, working with Ashley, watching all the shows, studying all the mannerisms. So I really love that. And but my absolute favorite, which was 1,000% spot on, was Iman with Ezra. I mean, he is Ezra. There's no question about it. He just captured everything about him. That even though, you know, you could tell that he's more grown, a little bit more mature, but he still has that little, you know, childish type of way of going about things, and being, you know, silly, and being so kind-hearted. And Iman just captured every single thing about Ezra. Absolutely my favorite.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with you that every one of them did something special with the characters. There was something special about Ezra. I think part of that too had to do with, if I'm giving credit to like where he was placed in the
Hmm.
show. He came
Yeah,
in
yeah,
at the
yeah.
very end, and he came in clutch at the very end. So I feel like part of that reason why we liked him so much is because he was like the last person on our mind,
Hmm.
because we got
Hmm.
used to Natasha's Sabine
Yeah.
and Mary's Hera, but seeing
Mhm.
him at the very end kind of lit up the screen a little bit more, and even more than we had previously with these
Yeah.
characters. I do feel like his personality was there, his charisma was there, his spirit was there, all that stuff
Hmm.
was there. The only thing is, if I had to do some little dots here and there that I
Hmm.
would have
Hmm.
added, it's not necessarily a negative. It's more like,
Hmm.
if I had more scenes,
Yeah.
like 5, 10 more minutes, I would have added for Sabine an art scene, because I was thinking about it the other day. Like, she's like a full blown like artist, like
Artist.
two
Yes.
fingers artist,
Yes. Yes.
like that. I would love to see a little bit more of that, whether it's on her off time, whether it's her critiquing a piece of art. We got a
Hmm.
little bit of that in the first few episodes with her deciphering the whole
The whole
uh
thing. Yeah.
yeah, the whole thing. But I wish we got a little bit more of it, because I would have loved to
Hmm.
have seen just how cool it is to be an artist. That's something we don't
Yes.
really
Yes.
see. that
Yeah.
much when it comes to a warrior, but a warrior and an artist is really cool.
Hmm.
The thing with Ezra that for me, I was like begging for, like, give me one animal moment. Give me one scene where he's doing like an animal thing.
Yeah, yeah,
I would have
yeah.
loved it. I would have absolutely gone crazy. Just I don't care what animal. We got
Yeah,
a little bit of like his chemistry with like foreign creatures and aliens,
yeah.
but
Hmm.
not like him like tapping into
Full
like
on the
I can
forest type
control
of thing.
animals, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
that to me
No,
makes him so
he could have
different
done
than
that with
any
the
Jedi.
howler. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
with
could
a
have done that
howler.
with the howler. It would have
Yeah,
been like perfect. Or and then Sabine kind of like spray painting the little turtle hut things,
something.
just making it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because I feel like we've had so many Jedis throughout history and throughout the past, and each of them have something unique about them,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
none of them have touched that type of uniqueness that Ezra has when it comes to that connection to animals. Like even
Yeah,
Kanan was like, who's the one who taught him to do that? Even he was like, yo, yours is deeper than mine, man. Like you have a real deep connection to
yeah.
creatures. And I would have loved to show an audience that's never seen Rebels
Seeing that,
why
yes.
he's different and why he's
Yeah,
unique. It's not just that he's a
yeah.
young, cool Jedi. It's that
Hmm.
he's a young, cool Jedi who has a different kind of connection to the Force
To the
than we've
forest.
seen in the past. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the one thing for me. But I love the cast. I thought Natasha was amazing. Seeing
Hmm.
Sabine in live action was special. Seeing Ezra in live action was cool. That's the other thing that I really did feel matters, and I tweeted this out. I feel like that having these characters represent a different background already to me is just worth it to just see them in
Yeah,
live action because we've
yeah.
never seen like an Iranian, you know, Latino guy be a Jedi. Like I've never seen that
I
before.
wonder if Indian Latino.
There's so
That's
many British
like,
guys,
yeah, yeah,
but we've never seen this kind of dude
yeah.
be a Jedi. And that's why so many people were like, yo, Moses, yo, he looks like Jesus, like Moses, because he looks so different because we've seen, white dudes with beards. They just look like white dudes with beards. But
Why
seeing
do
this
with
guy,
beard?
we were like, yo, this is kind of cool to see a Jedi that represents this part of the world that we kind of ignore. So
Hmm.
that, and then Sabine being Asian as well, I felt like was
Yes.
very, very important. How'd you feel about that aspect?
Oh no, it was it when the casting was first, announced. It was just basically a celebration for us. It was just beautiful to see all this, type of inclusion, not just for the sake of inclusion, but it goes with the story.
It
And
does.
it's and but at the same time, inclusion, yes, because we should be able to see all these different people represented, and so and all different types of us can see ourselves. Like, dude, that's how I would look. Now I can do this cosplay and actually look, the part,
Yeah.
and stuff. So it was really cool. That's why when, just a little sidestep, The Acolyte is one of my most anticipated shows because the casting is just so different, so diverse, so like they were really able to bring in so many different types of actors from so many different type of backgrounds. So that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to in The Acolyte as well. And I love that we started with this in the Ahsoka show.
Yeah, I thought it was special, and I thought it really did mean a lot to see these
Mhm.
characters come from their animated version into live action and translate perfectly over into those versions. Because I do feel like, again, that's important. So many
Mhm.
people pay attention to original material, original concept, original characters. They're obsessed with this idea of keeping it the same. And the irony is that most of these stories that they want to keep the same were developed in the 50s and 60s and 70s, where all
Mhm.
characters were white. There was no such thing as these kind of diverse backgrounds. But the
Yeah.
fact that they're taking from the original material, and the original material, Sabine is Asian presenting. That's how she
Yes.
looks like. And that's what we get with Ezra as well. And I feel like that's why it was so important for them to adapt these characters and bring him to live action to showcase this new style and this new version of what Star Wars can
Mhm.
look like.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And it's important for people to see that because it we're still getting so much pushback from certain parts of the community where it's just, oh, this is so woke, and it's just, the tokens, and it's just for, to check mark uh, uh, a box, like, oh, we got the Spanish person or we got the black person, and that's it. It's nothing to do with that. It's
Yeah.
just the universe is representing what the real world actually looks like.
Yeah.
that's very, like you said, it's very important to be able to do that.
It is, and I loved it, and I feel like it just brought a lot to the story, and I do feel like the story overall was really good. I love Thrawn. I feel like I'm the only one who
No,
liked.
I actually like Thrawn. The thing is that I understand because I know a lot of Thrawn. It's coming from the books, and apparently the books it's not, this Thrawn is not too much like the Thrawn in the books and stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem because I only know Thrawn from the
the
animation,
show. Yeah,
from the show, so I'm looking at him through that lens.
yeah,
And to me, the way that he did things was great. I know some people are complaining that because Thrawn is a super strategy, super intelligent strategist, right? And that he's always has something, a plan B, a plan C to everything. And that some people are saying that, in the show, he didn't really kind of show that because he was always like losing. But I saw it more like he wasn't planning on Ahsoka being there. He wasn't planning on Sabine being there. So he was adjusting to whatever was happening at the moment. And I think he did that very well. It's like, okay, yeah, we lost this, but now we gained this. Yeah, we lost this because I didn't know this was going to be here. But now I changed the plan and now it's in my favor. And at the end, it did work for him,
Yeah, I thought it worked well, and I felt like it fit the show, and it fit what the show needed specifically, and to showcase why he's different than what we've seen in the past. I feel like it worked, and the performance I thought was perfect. I felt like that was just presence, voice, everything was spot on. I mean, obviously he's the original Thrawn, so
yes, yeah, we did. Talking about casting and characters. I mean, that's who Thrawn is. Thrawn is Thrawn. He is Thrawn. Mads is, not Mads. Eric, is that his name? Mads is his brother, right? Oh, Lars Mikkelsen. Yeah, there you go. He makes that character who he is, and this, and it was not just a voice, just his mannerisms and everything. He brought all of that to life.
Yeah, I thought he did amazing, and it really did mean a lot to see him on screen. Last thing I want to say real quick, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about a tiny bit, just Ray Stevenson. I loved his character. I was obsessed with this character. That's the one thing I was like, let me talk about Ray Stevenson just for like 10
I think
videos.
He was my favorite. I mean, obviously I love everything else because those are the characters we have known and loved. But I think my favorite character was Ray Stevenson's character.
Yeah.
It was because it was so new. It was so different, like
so
completely different. He was just, I don't think we've ever gotten a character like that in Star Wars yet, where he's just so imposing and mysterious and just his acting and the way they wrote his character was so good.
Yeah, he just spoke in riddles, and I was like, "Yeah, what does it mean?
What does it mean?" I'm like, "Why are you doing this to us? Just tell me what the hell you want."
There's always something deeper inside, beyond this planet. All we have to do is look inside and then look out. And I was like, "What? What do you mean? What's going on?
Tell me, what the hell are you talking about, Ray? Incredible. What do you know? Like, what do you know that I don't?"
The closest thing to me that I got was Qui-Gon. He reminded me of Qui-Gon. It took me like 6 episodes to get there. But then it clicked. I was like, he reminds me of someone. I was like, Qui-Gon Jinn. He is very similar to that kind of like ideology of like kind of relaxing into the Force and just kind of going with the flow. Where he was just like, yeah, I work for this guy for now. I'm just really doing this for now. I'm going to be nice for now. Like everything was just kind of chilling and kind of flowing with the Force and going with the waves of whatever he's being told to do, which is just kind of what Qui-Gon did. Where he would kind of follow the council, but always kind of be like, "Oh, the council's not really." I'm
gonna kind of do my own thing on the side. Yeah, they'll be okay. They'll get over it.
Yeah, like he really like just made sure to be like extra listening to the Force is what Qui-Gon did, and that's what I felt like Balin was doing, whether it was either side of the Force, dark or light, and he was just kind of going with both. I was like, it was perfect.
He was just following his own thing. I still don't know what it was that he was following and what it was, but we know that was his mission and he was taking it very serious. Like you said, it wasn't like a light or dark thing. Yeah. It was just, I don't know what he's trying to do. And then when we got that, and then when we got at the end with the father, the son, and the daughter, and it's just to think that this is in this other galaxy, whole different other galaxy than what we know was in the normal Star Wars galaxy. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
what does that mean, the whole aspect of the universe, like everywhere
Yeah.
else, it's a lot, and it's exciting because
It's
it's
cool.
something that we don't know and we have no background for.
And it's so sad, to be honest, because it only
Yeah.
adds to the dread and to the sadness of just losing
Mhm.
an actor like him. Not just because he's an incredible person, an incredible actor. He probably has
Mhm.
a family that deeply misses him,
Yes,
but
yes.
also the fact that he was just getting his foot into this incredible character that I feel like so many years it takes for so many actors to establish who they are as a performer. And a lot
Yes.
of them don't get that opportunity to
Mhm.
really just like feel the love and to feel the fervor of a fan base. And he was about to get that. Like, I guarantee next year or the year after, following his storyline, he would have been considered an iconic Star
Oh
Wars
no, absolutely.
all-timer.
I mean, he's
He
just started
already is,
here.
probably. Yeah.
Yes. No, he is. Like everybody just spoke about him. And hold
Yeah.
on a second. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Something turned on. Hold on.
No
Sorry
worries.
about that. um, I think the one thing that has been everybody has been in agreement with is Balin.
Yeah.
No matter who, no matter what, Balin was a fan favorite to everybody. His performance was iconic. His character was iconic, and I think it's gonna be very. Me personally, I hope they do recast because this character needs to be around,
Yeah.
and to continue what Ray started. We can't
Yeah.
just let it die, and to continue his legacy in that way. You know.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult conversation to eventually have, but
Mhm,
it
mhm.
definitely is sad to see because I did feel like his character definitely stole the show entirely, probably, which is really remarkable to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
All right, let's move on. We have our Force flashback of the day. The Force flashback is all about Andor. I wanted to lightly, not too deeply,
Mhm.
touch on why Andor, for some reason, now more than ever, is just so relevant, remarkable, special,
Mhm.
and why
Yes.
you feel that is, Kari.
Oh God. Well, with everything that's going on right now in the real world, with Palestine and stuff, it brings you back to what they were doing in Andor, that seeing the start of the rebellion, seeing what the people um basically were going through, and then them actually going and being like, this is not okay. We need to do something about this. And rising up and actually now realizing that they could go on and take on this, otherwise they're going to continue, and they're going to continue being killed and taken advantage of, and all this injustice that was going on. And then just bringing that into the real world and what we're going through right now, and us trying to do the same thing. It's very personal now when it comes to Andor. It really is, especially at the end with Marver's, amazing speech and everything. They didn't give up. We don't give up. That's, I think, something that as Star Wars fans, well, the ones that are um not into the whole, this is just woke stuff, this is just political, we don't want Star Wars to be political. Star Wars has always been political. And I think that if we take what we saw in the show and apply it to what we're going through right now, it makes the show that much more personal for a lot of us.
And it makes it even more powerful and more
Hmm.
special because
Yes.
I do feel like we're living in a time now, ironically enough, where revolutionary type stories, or just even if it's fictional, revolutionary type stories are struggling to even get made or even to
Hmm.
break through.
Yeah.
And it feels overwhelming, and it almost feels nihilistic in a way where you
Hmm.
you feel like there is no hope and you feel like there is no way out, I guess, literally. And stories can really draw a lot of inspiration into the real world, and I'm not necessarily saying that there's a direct correlation
Yeah,
between
yeah,
what
yeah.
is in the text of the show and what is in the real world. But what I am saying is that it deeply matters to have these kind of revolutionary type stories, just to teach people the basics of what it is that we're currently living in and what it is to live inside a world that may feel inevitable, may feel nihilistic and overwhelming, and yet there's always going to be a way out and a way to organize and to fight the empire and to fight back against systemic corporate structures that are bigger and powerful and seem to be unbeatable, like an empire.
Yes.
And yet there's always an opportunity and a way to fight it, even if you don't have superpowers like the Jedi do. The fact that Andor is just a dude fighting against the empire, and the fact that he's low-key, like probably more powerful than like half the Jedi, just on an intelligence basis, on a leadership basis, on a way to just work with people kind of basis. Like he's probably better than like most of them. So the fact that this is the new face of a leader, and the fact that it is also a Latino, I really do feel like that's important, because I feel like we are getting pushed down more and more. It matters. And I was listening to a video from Just Right. It's a YouTube channel that came out 3 years ago. And it's so funny that it popped up on my feed because the Hunger Games was popping up on my feed, talking about the Hunger Games and why the Hunger Games is important now more than ever. And the themes that the show, that the movies and the books talk about can relate to nowadays. And I feel like sometimes it does take this type of breakthrough media to communicate to young people or to any kind of people, like, hey, like, this is what we're living right now. Like, wake up.
Yes.
So it means a lot.
It takes it, especially like you. I think one important thing that you said was that Andor is just a regular dude, and there's no force, there's no powers, there's no nothing. It was just regular people fighting a big bad, and you know what? We're just regular people who are trying to do the same thing. Fighting against injustice, and something that it's bigger than us, more powerful than us, but there's hope. there's always hope.
Always hope. Exactly. I love it. Let's move on to squad leader, or squad up with squad leader Ace. I have a list of questions here for you, Gotti, to tell me what you would do to create the perfect team for the perfect scenario. The scenario I have today is very different, very weird, but I felt like it kind of fit with the vibes that we're kind of going with this episode. So for today's episode, you are planning an event. This is a fundraising event that features music, dancing, socioeconomic awareness, and raising funds for important causes. What you need for this event, you need 1, a key speaker that will motivate the crowd and spread the important messages that need to be heard. You need a DJ that will get the crowd going, a head of security, and an organizer who will make sure everything goes smoothly and every speaker gets their moment. Gotti, I want to start with you. If you're organizing this kind of, whatever it is, just big ass event, you need a key speaker from the Star Wars universe to just go hard, just go in on their speech. Who are you choosing?
I'm choosing the #1 senator who was on top of everything and was probably #1 enemy to Palpatine, Padme Amidala herself. Her speeches were iconic, either in the movies or in animation. They were amazing. She was a force to be reckoned with. She listened to her. She was like one of Palpatine's most, dangerous things for him to have to deal with. So Padme would definitely get these people to like shell out the money for what is needed.
I feel like that's like the only choice.
Right?
I mean, there's a lot of other good choices that I feel like could nail it when it comes to just being like, this is what we need. I mean, Ezra is a good example. He did it when he was like 15. And then we have Hera. I think Hera would kill it. Chuchi. I always bring my girl Chuchi up. I think Chuchi's a gangster. So the one I think I'm going to pick is the one I think I just mentioned. Just because I do feel like he's going to get this in season 2 of Andor. I think he's going to, because that scene in One Way Out, the episode, he looked at Andy Serkis's character, I forget his name, and he like looked at him like, do I speak? Do you speak? And he was like, no, you speak, go for it. And I was like, that's that little moment where Andor is like, I'm going to let you talk because I'm not ready yet. But once I'm ready, and I think he's ready now, I'm going to give this big ass speech with my heaviest like Mexican accent. I'm going to throw Spanish in there for no reason. Spanish bad words. Like, I think he would kill it. I think he would absolutely kill it.
I
So I'm picking
think,
Cassian.
especially with that accent and throwing in some of the
Yeah,
Spanish stuff, it just like reinforces like a little bit more force. Yeah,
I think he would absolutely nail it.
yeah.
So our second one is a DJ. Who are you picking to be a DJ? It doesn't have to be a musician. It could just
Uh,
be a person you think would be dope as far as picking songs. Like it's not necessarily like an
I
actual
think
musician.
so. I think Poe Dameron would be fun as a DJ because he's just like his character itself is just a fun character. He's like silly and very outgoing and stuff. So I think he would light up a party with no problem. He's super fun. So yeah.
That's a great one. I feel like we need someone in the Star Wars universe who just like lives and breathes like hip hop. I don't know
Yeah.
if we have. I mean, I guess you can maybe speculate Lando, but I don't think Lando is really in that era yet. I guess Poe would be the closest one. We also
Yeah.
have maybe Finn. Um,
Yeah.
I
That was
think that
like probably my second choice was Finn, I think. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that's kind of where I'm leaning towards, but also like maybe a droid or a creature would be an amazing DJ.
I
So
think
I'm
Chopper would be putting like all the bad all the bad songs, the bad
Yeah,
word
he'd be putting
songs.
all the crazy songs in there. I'm gonna go with Chewie just because I'm wearing the shirt and
Chewy?
I think
Okay.
Chewie would kill it. I think he would have some like crazy drums going in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, just a mix of like absolutely every culture. He would just go hard. It would be like the
Yeah.
freaking what's that festival called?
So,
The Caribbean festival, the
yeah, yeah,
Islander.
yeah, yeah,
It would just
yeah.
be like drums and like
It was Indian
people
festival.
shaking their
Yeah.
butt. Like he's like, this is
Yeah.
what we do on Kashyyyk.
That's how we have all this long fur. Trust me, we shake it.
Yeah, we're just dancing like crazy. So I'll go with Chewy for my DJ. Your head of security.
I think Fennec Shan would be good with that.
Oh,
Fennec Shan is
yeah.
just, she's a badass. She doesn't take anything and she will be on top of everybody like, okay, because she's a bounty hunter. So she knows everything. She's very a lot of attention to detail. Anything little slight off going on, she will know everything. So I think Fennec would be good at that.
That's a great one. I feel like I'm leaning towards a Bad Batcher. I want to say Hunter.
Hunter. I was gonna
I
say Hunter
I
would
want
be
to say
good.
Hunter would be just absolutely nail it as head
Yeah.
of security. And he's serious, but he's also like loose enough to like let things slide.
Yeah, yeah.
If things go
Be
too
like,
crazy,
okay,
he's like, all right, that's
fine.
fine. All right, go for it. Whereas like other people maybe wouldn't. So
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
probably pick Hunter as my head of
That's a good one
security.
too. Yeah.
And then finally, who is the top of the top organizer, making sure your speech doesn't go too long, making sure that
Mhm.
everything ends on time, everyone has food and drinks. Who is your planner organizer?
I think Leia would be really good at that. Leia, it's she's just on everything, and like she's really cool, and she's very sociable, amicable. So she knows, and then she's serious about her work and how she's on top of everything all the time. We've seen in the movie, she's the one that's basically guiding Han and Luke all the time, and telling them what to do. So I think Leia would be amazing at that position.
That's a great one. I feel like when I think of this person, for some reason, the first thought I had was Mon Mothma.
Oh,
I think she
her-
would kill it. I
Oh,
think
no,
she
of
would be
course.
like, you're
They're both
good, 15
senators,
minutes,
yeah.
you got 5 minutes. Like she'd be the one telling you to like get off the stage and stuff and
Yeah,
wrap up.
yeah.
She'd be
She put the
encouraging
music on.
people. Yeah, she'd be encouraging people to like, go even more
Mhm.
passionate because she feels like she's so low key, but she feels like
Yeah.
she's the kind of person to bring out the best in you.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah,
going
yeah,
with
yeah.
Mon Mothma for
No,
my
Mothma's
final one.
definitely great.
So let's run through it real quick just to end the episode. We have
Mhm.
for your squad up, your speaker is
Padme Amidala.
your DJ,
The DJ is Poe Dameron.
your head of security,
Fennec Shan.
and your organizer is.
Ms. Leia Organa.
All right, for mine, my head speaker is Cassian Andor. My DJ is Chewbacca. My head of security is Hunter. And then finally, organizing everything, we have Mon Mothma. Kari, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully you had a
Amazing.
blast. It's been
I-
amazing to talk Star
it was
Wars
amazing.
finally.
Yes,
Again,
yes.
after so long. I was like deprived. I was like in the desert. with no Star Wars. My lips were
like,
all
oh my
dry.
God.
I was dying. I needed to
I was
talk.
dying. I was like, my last. It's like, oh my God, I need to say something.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, though. This, I needed this. So I appreciate you so much.
No worries. Where can everyone find you?
I'm on TikTok as Estar Guars Tia, to Twitter and Instagram is the same handle, Estar Guars Tia. So
And you can follow
find
me.
both.
You can follow me at Squad Leader Ace, and obviously right here at First Cut and First Cut TMO for more Star Wars content. But either way, guys, for Sabacc the Block, we're gonna be peacing out. So peace, deuces.